Hello, denizens of the internet. I want to talk to you about something I've noticed about streamers. Recurring streamer shows can't seem to nail their second seasons. That's if they even nailed their first one. Let me first do my caveat dance because there are exceptions and you're going to come after me, and I need to more fully explain what I mean. For those of you who have been following me, you know that I come from a network TV background with a special interest in sitcoms. We all know that network TV is dying. I would say it's self-inflicted because of their zeal to try to muscle in on Netflix's success and abandoning what made them successful for decades. But that doesn't explain why streamers with all the experience available in Hollywood can't duplicate the success series programming had. Some exceptions, would be Yellowstone, Stranger Things, Cobra Kai, Reacher, The Expanse, The Boys, Grace and Frankie, and others. I haven't included popular shows like Severance yet because they only just finished their second season. And even if that works, and it's a great show so far, 2 seasons do not make a series. But one thing I observed was how badly streamers consistently fumble the second season of their shows. It's as if they don't have the learning gene turned on. They convey an arrogance towards their network brothers because, they spend more money on a show and do fewer of them, and that somehow makes them better. One could complain about the assembly line grinded out nature of doing 24 network shows a year, but looking back at it all, there is something prosaic about them that was more meat and potatoes, and that's what made them successful. Sure, The Witcher looked better than Xena, Warrior Princess, but apart from The Witcher's first season, I'll sit down to watch the exploits of Xena and Gabrielle anytime over Ciri and Yennefer. Bad episodes of Stargate are way more enjoyable than most of For All Mankind. All that streaming money has created an awful lot of mediocrity. And I don't know if it's the arrogance of the showrunner, the producers, the executive in charge of production who seem to lack the ability to self-correct after a modest or difficult start. The Witcher was okay the first season, confused but okay. It even had a hit song, Toss a Coin to Your Witcher.
Toss a coin to your Witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your Witcher, a friend of humanity. Don't be annoyed, pass on the coin, he's a friend of humanity. Hey!
I'm friends with a manatee. What? But it had its problems. Did the folks in charge fix them? No. They decided to take perhaps the most perfect role Henry Cavill has ever played or might ever play, yes, including Superman, and sabotage the show. If this was a network show pre-90s, they'd never get away with that. It would have been more Henry Cavill, more topless bathing, Henry, more come hither women, and at least a monster per show. There just seems to be this arrogance in streaming that they know better. You have to love network TV. You got an initial order of 10 shows. If you were, let's say, 67th out of 68 shows a couple of weeks in a row, you were axed immediately and replaced by the movie of the week. If you were middle of the pack and the network needed to keep you alive due to, scheduling reasons, you might get a break and get a second season. But you had better bust your ass and fix the things that didn't work in season 1, or you'd be out of work. Streamers, it seems, are the inheritors of the participation awards generation. Wheel of Time, which only barely resembled Robert Jordan's books was reasonably entertaining in its first year. I got through it. And then, just like The Witcher, season 2 was absolute trash. Season 3 of both shows was laughably bad. Social media was awash with how they could be improved, but was clearly ignored. The Last of Us honestly had a great start. I really enjoyed the first season. Those of us who were aware of or played part 2 of the game knew exactly what was going to happen in season 2, and we were not looking forward to it. It was a dilemma, but not insurmountable. The producers had the benefit of experiencing firsthand the plummeting sales of The Last of Us Part 2, the game. They had millions of posts begging them to ignore the disastrous killing of Joel. Spoiler alert. Sorry. Perhaps this was the first time onliners actually asked creators not to be faithful to the source material, which is pretty funny. And here's HBO Max with all this data, all these reactions, and a huge amount of money tied up with the property, and the executive in charge of production actually, I don't know, what did he say? Sure, let's make season 2 suck real bad. Let's get rid of the only glue that is holding the show together, the otherwise inexorable Pedro Pascal, and leave it in the hands of Bella Ramsey, who doesn't have the acting talent to front a dollar store opening. Because if I was the exec in charge of production for HBO, I would have had Abby as the protagonist trying to hunt them both down in season 2. I would have brought back Amy Hennig, who wrote the excellent Uncharted games for Naughty Dog. Netflix's Warrior Nun was an interesting idea that saved too much of the interesting stuff to the end of the season 1, but had a decent enough fun premise, and then they totally screwed it up for season 2. An unwatchable disaster. The Boys had a great first season, and then it was downhill from there. The Umbrella Academy, great first season, and then they lost it from there on. Loved season 1 of Doom Patrol. I won't be discussing terrible first season shows like Rings of Power. That never should have gotten a second season at all. I want to keep this to shows that were actually good, or at the very least promising. I will posit that the streaming series format is an impossible mountain to climb, at least the way they're doing it. Creating what is ostensibly a feature film that is unrolled each season is not only hard, but it's not what we want, which is to sit down and watch some entertainment featuring our favorite characters. We want rinse and repeat. What the hell is wrong with having the Umbrella Academy go after a, transubstantiating perp of the week while we enjoy their bickering? I love the characters. I don't understand. Is that somehow insulting to the great creative geniuses who find such a thought cheap and tawdry? Only Murders in the Building has gotten better because they made sure that murders happened only in the building. Yes, I know, you find CSI insulting. Yeah, 10, 15 years of insulting TV at 24 shows a year. Though we're all tired of police, medical procedurals, and reality shows. The networks have also lost their way, but I'm sure the folks who did the live-action Cowboy Bebop would have loved that kind of insulting. But it seems the producers did learn something from that failure, because when they produced the hugely successful One Piece, yes, it's the same creative group, a streaming production company that actually learned its lesson, though the proof will come in season 2. Am I fearful that One Piece will follow the path of other streaming series that lost their way in season 2? We can only hope not. It just seems to me that network TV in its heyday had a better handle on keeping a successful show on the air. Companies voting with their ad dollars also help people focus. Certainly, the challenge of not running out of stories at that production pace was a unique challenge. But I can't help think it instilled a discipline and toughness that these pampered show creators who weep about having to come up with only 8 episodes every 2 years, oh my God, don't have. The first year of the original Star Trek had 29 episodes. Was there filler? Sure. But they had a kind of charm that the filler in streaming shows can't compare. Can you think of any other promising streaming series that pooched it in its second season? Drop it in the comments below. Till next time, denizens, be seeing you.